Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety for FOR chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
And this is Collateral Cinema. Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We're podcasting from Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. And welcome to our At the Movies 2024 in Review episode.
Woo! All right. Yeah, we're going to talk about all the movies that we saw during the year, right?
That's
Reviewing
right.
Episodes. Hell yeah, got to.
Hell yeah, we got it. This is something a segment we started last year with the 2023 in review, and so now we're doing it again for 2024. And a shit ton of movies came out. I actually watched a lot of them just in preparation for this episode. Like I watched a ton of movies recently.
I didn't. I just didn't. I don't know. I mean, I'm just one of those. I'm one of those movie collectors that I just have this huge queue of movies that I still need to watch in my collection. That
Yeah, you got a lot of that shit.
Honestly, there's even movies from like 2 or 3 years ago that I don't know if I'm ever really going to get to. I still haven't even seen Everything Everywhere All at Once or anything like that. I mean,
to be fair,
I haven't seen Beau is Afraid. I haven't seen any of that shit, you know?
And that's a good point. I mean, I'm kind of the same way. This year, I kind of did something different, and I decided to go back, and I actually watched several movies. Anything that I just thought would be, that I thought I'd be interested in would be something interesting to talk about. So we'll quickly go over those, but there are a few that more than one of us have watched. So I guess that's going to be kind of our main discussion here.
Yep.
So we're going to start with The Fall Guy. This is a movie that all three of us have watched.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt and Aaron Taylor Johnson and more. And I'm Ashley Chancellor. Thoughts about this movie? I really fucking love it. This movie is it's so funny. It's intelligent. It kind of reminds me of The Nice Guys. And that's a good comparison because that's a hella underrated film.
Yeah, it really is, man. It didn't get the credit it deserved, you know?
And I mean, it's got the Gosling. The Gosling guys.
And
He's
Russell
literally
Crowe,
me.
or the new guys.
That was The Nice Guys, but
The Nice Guys.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's the Nice Guys, Robert. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Nice Guys.
Oh, God damn it. wait. I thought we were talking about the Fall Guys.
We're talking about both things.
I mean, there's Nice Guys and there's Fall Guys. I mean, I don't know. Lots of guys.
and then there's the other guys with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. Of course. There's also that. But honestly, with the Fall Guy, I just love how this is just a complete love letter to modern stunt coordinators and stunt work, you know? I mean, much in the way that Hooper was kind of a love letter to how stunt work was done at that particular time in Hollywood's history. This right here is like just pretty much the way that it is pretty much the way that stunt work goes down in modern movies, you know? I mean, obviously there's multiple takes. It can be kind of tedious, you know, also very dangerous. But, you know, the people who work in stunt work, I mean, they're such amazing technicians for what they do. You know, like from the actual the stunt coordinators and the choreographers, you know, who actually like make sure that everything is just set right in place and everything is cued at the right time and everything. It's really some of the more fascinating parts of movie making, and I love that we actually get a little bit of a movie with some intrigue and everything that ties into movie stunt work. That was really cool.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
It really does feel like a love letter to stunt cinema. And I've never watched the 1980s series that this is loosely based on. So I don't know.
I can get a hold of that.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
If you all want me to. I can get a box set of the
We should check that out.
I have the $6 Million Man too. Starring Lee Majors, the original Fall Guy, if I might add.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, as far as this movie is concerned, like you said, Bo, it's a love letter to you know, stunt. I mean, they even do a whole thing during the credits that's dedicated to the stuntmen. They show a lot of the stuff that happened with their own stuntmen for this film. But aside from that, like I said, it's just a really funny movie, and it's funny in a smart way. It's funny in the way that like the Deadpool movies are funny, you know, like you can tell that there's some intelligence written into the script, and it's really good. I love all the little bits that they do. The love story is just really convincing. The chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt is good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah,
and also, I mean, I just really like how this is just a great example of what Hollywood does best, which is make movies about Hollywood. You know, it's like they eat movies like that up in Hollywood, you know? So something like this, or like what would be another good example? I don't really recall. But yeah, it's like maybe like La La Land or something like that, you know,
sure.
Just, you know, those types of movies that really just talk about, you know, the Hollywood, about the way that Hollywood actually works and the way that movie making works. I mean, maybe another good example would be Inland Empire by David Lynch. That would be another good example of that. Oh man, rest in peace, David Lynch, by the way.
We meant to start the episode off talking about David Lynch, because I mean, let's take a minute to talk about that, guys, before we go any further.
We definitely should. That was a really, really hard thing to take, man. I mean, I think that when I was that night when I was doing our good night tweets and everything, I mean, I was in tears, man.
Yeah,
that really fucking hurt.
I was like, this world fucking sucks now, dude.
No, the world is less interesting without David Lynch in it. I mean, his vision was just this really, really unique exaggeration of everything that American life and Americana is, you know, and he influenced so many different people in so many different genres. Like we recently did the Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job Crimbus special. They're heavily influenced by David Lynch, you know, like especially when they do the Tim and Eric bedtime stories and everything, and also, you know, all the great directors that have been contemporaries to Lynch, you know, like, I mean, like Coppola and Kubrick and all of them, you know, they were contemporary to him, but like just the way that his approach to filmmaking was something that could only work for him. You know, only he really knew what his movies were about, and he kept it that way on purpose. I mean, for fuck's sake, he was literally writing Inland Empire as he went. Literally, just the next day, he would have another couple of pages of script ready. and then he would just film it that way.
Stanley Kubrick, yeah.
Just say fuck it.
That's what I told Ash. I'm like, dude, I really don't know what's going to happen. I can only do it right in the moment, you know?
You know what?
Exactly.
That fucking tracks. Because I just watched Inland Empire the day we got the news that night. Inland Empire is the David Lynch film I decided to put on, and then the next day I watched Dune. But yeah, that I can see that now.
Yeah, I have both of those movies. I think pretty much the only movies of his that I don't have is Wild at Heart and The Straight Story. Pretty much. That's pretty much it. And then, Straight Story, of course, being the movie that's his most straightforward. It's literally just a straightforward story about a guy driving his lawnmower from point A to point B. I think it's to honor his friend who passed away.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And it was a Disney movie. Think about that. David Lynch did a fucking Disney movie.
Of course he did. He has to.
Shit.
He had to, man. Of course. But yeah, it just hurts so much to see him go.
Well, we've done multiple films by David Lynch on the podcast. I mean, you guys did Eraserhead, and I've watched that movie. I've listened to that episode. We did Mulholland Drive, and we did
Lost Highway.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. David Lynch is one of those things that's kind of stuck with this podcast from the beginning. I mean, Eraserhead was like, what, our 5th episode ever? Or something, our 5th or 6th?
That's my first David Lynch movie I've ever saw.
And it was the first one that you ever saw. Yeah, I brought the Criterion over and we watched it at your place, if I recall.
It was great, the greatest thing ever when I first saw it.
It really was. It's a very special thing to show a David Lynch movie to someone for the first time.
It really is, that's actually funny that that's your first film, because I mean that's the first film the world saw of him too, right?
Yeah, that's his first piece. Yeah.
I think mine was Mulholland Drive. No, mine was Dune.
Yeah, no. To his dying breath, he never elaborated what the fuck Eraserhead was actually about,
or any of his movies,
of his movies for that. Yeah, there's that infamous meme. It was like, "Do you care to elaborate?" And he's like, "No."
Just wants to keep the audience guessing, just keep them on their feet,
Dude, the literal epitome of the Giga Chad. I mean, now not a single person will ever know what his films meant, and that's the way he wanted it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He took that to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
But man, what a life he lived. We really need to check out the documentary that was made about him. Which was just basically just following him in his day-to-day life, like about maybe 10 years ago. It's out on Criterion, so we should really check that out.
I think very soon here, maybe we should do a director's cut talking about David Lynch.
Maybe we should. Yes.
Get all Lynchian.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, huge loss for cinema, and yeah, it's never going to be the same without him. Moving on, though. Well, actually, maybe a couple more things I might have wanted to mention about the Fall Guy before we move on. I love that whole bit with the dog, Jean-Claude.
Oh my God, funny. Definitely.
Jean-Claude.
When he just
that was so funny.
He just says the command to him in French and he hops over the fence with him. That dog was a fucking Giga Chad too.
Absolute badass dog, dude. Hell yeah.
And Aaron Taylor Johnson is in this. I have a conspiracy theory about Aaron Taylor Johnson because he did 3 movies, and we're going to talk about all 3 of them this year. 3 blockbusters.
Yeah.
This, Nosferatu, and Kraven the Hunter. And I don't know if you guys know, but he's on the short list to be the next Bond. I mean, I think it's basically like him and it's Cavill, who most are saying Cavill is not going to be it. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson is the next Bond, and I think this year has been kind of been official confirmation about that. Because here's my conspiracy theory, but think about it. I mean, he just went and put his name on 3 major films this year, good or bad, right? True. Just to put his name out there.
Yeah,
it's almost like Hollywood's telling him, hey, build up your resume a little bit so more people are aware of you and before we announce you as Bond. That's what I think happened. I think he's officially the next Bond. They've already given him the green light, and we just haven't been told the news yet. They're just telling him to put his name out there. Attach your name to as many big releases as possible. That's my conspiracy theory.
He's gonna come out with Kick-Ass 3, bro.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Like, that doesn't even look like the same kid from 14 years ago, dude. Shit. But nah, yeah. Shit. Competing with Timothy Chalamet, though, right? Who's the best actor right now?
Timothy Chalamet, who also is the youngest actor ever since James Dean to be nominated to be nominated twice for best actor, right?
Like a couple of Emmys, right? Damn it.
Like
Like 3 major motion pictures back to back. Yeah.
The youngest 2-time Oscar nominee since James Dean.
Yeah, I mean, Dean didn't live long enough to see his fame, really, barely.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. I mean, but I mean, Chalamet is really his star is really rising. You know, I mean, now he's Oscar nominated actor and
doing really good. Now he's Bob Dylan. So
and he's Bob Dylan.
We watched that Bob Dylan movie.
I'd like to see that. Actually,
I want to see that. Same creators from the Johnny Cash movie, Walk the Line, right?
Yeah.
I can definitely tell it's the same freaking people. Same producers.
I recently watched Wonka with you, Robert. That was from 2023, but that was really good.
That was a good performance. Yeah.
Another one of his movies is on our list. Actually, it's one of the movies I watched. But A Complete Unknown. That's something that came out this last year, huh?
Complete Unknown. Yeah, it came out already. We need to go see it. It's probably still at the movies, though, right?
It probably is. I would imagine so.
Just waiting to stream it, right? Everybody is, right?
Yeah, as usual.
Nobody leaves their house anymore, dude. Barely.
True. But moving on, the second film on our list is the one that Bo and Robert, you guys have both watched, so I'll let you take it away with this one. But that was The Mousetrap.
Oh boy, this fucking movie. This movie is one of the first to utilize the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse that recently came into the public domain as the catalyst for a slasher movie. And oh man, I don't know what the fuck the point of this shit was.
Actually, we're gonna have to watch it again.
We are gonna have to watch it again. It's on Tubi. You can watch this easily. But and I believe Cinema Snob has actually talked about this as well.
Oh my god!
It's kind of nonsensical because it only really has a tangential connection to Steamboat Willie. Like we see the cartoon at the beginning and everything, and it's playing whenever the killer decides to put on his Mickey mask and go start killing and everything, but. I mean, Robert, what the hell was all that shit though? Like, what was that story?
I don't know. It was just like a birthday party, and then the girl was closing up, and then all her friends come in so they can have like a party, everybody getting drunk, doing shit.
It was at a roller skating rink, right?
It was like some sort of roller skating arcade rink or something.
You know what that kind of reminded me of a little bit? It reminded me of the third Ginger Dead Man movie. You know, the one where he goes back to the 70s and
Saturday Night Cleaver or something.
Yeah, Saturday Night Cleaver, and it's just pretty much a single location movie where it's obvious that the director just knew somebody who owned a skating rink or owned a big arcade entertainment place, and it was just a cheap location, so they were just like, hey, can we film this movie here after hours or something?
Yeah,
it's
the entire damn movie.
Pretty much the whole damn movie is in this one location, you know, which makes sense, you know, and Charles Band is kind of the one that helped pioneer that style, that type of location scouting and everything.
That's what we got to do with an abandoned amusement park, bro.
Exactly.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Just like make it our home for a second.
Yeah, but that's obviously what happened here, you know, because it's this arcade party place. I don't know what it really is.
Yeah.
You know, but
you don't see too much of those anymore, right? I don't.
And I have no idea. It has fuck all to do with Disney or Mickey. It's like I don't understand that.
Costume was fucking stupid. I'm sorry, man.
Did they even use the name?
They were going to use they were going to call it like the Mickey Mouse Trap, but I guess Disney didn't particularly like that too much, so they just changed it to the Mouse Trap.
The Mickey Mouse Trap.
And I heard that they don't actually use the name Mickey Mouse anywhere in the film.
No. Like I said, the only real connection that this has to it is it pretty much just shows Steamboat Willie at the beginning, and that's pretty much it. and the kills, the kills are very, very tame, surprisingly. Like, except that there's maybe one decapitation near the end, and it's near the end, and it's a total shit post ending. It ends in a shit post, right? Yeah. I'm just gonna spoil it. The main girl, that's the like, I guess she's made to be the final girl and everything, and she's crushing on this one guy.
Yeah.
She ends up just getting decapitated at the fucking end of the movie.
Right at the end.
Just randomly.
I was like, the rest.
What?
The rest of that wasn't bad. It was just the costume that was like stupid.
Oh, the costume was terrible.
Fuck, it could have been any other costume, bro. Like fuck that shit.
It was terrible. I don't understand it. Like, the acting was bland.
Yeah.
I don't really get what they were going for.
New kids, right? Fuck.
Yeah. It's a movie that's kind of worth it if you just like bad schlocky movies.
I was like, dude, you could have grabbed a better mask at like a Spirit of Halloween or a Party City.
Absolutely. But I mean, we already have a Steamboat Willie movie with David Howard Thornton playing the main slasher killer in that movie coming out very soon, and that looks like it's going to be a little better quality, So I would say, just kind of wait till that comes out, and unless you just want to just maybe put this on, get high, and just laugh at it. I guess it's kind of okay for that, but I don't know, Robert. It's just.
It's whatever. It was just something to put on because it just came out too.
It was,
on
yeah.
TV.
it just came out, and it just had that whole connection with the Steamboat Willie going into the public domain. Yeah. So, and I mean, this sort of thing worked with to a degree with the Winnie the Pooh slasher movie, and I mean that's pretty much now creating its own a cinematic universe practically.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, I heard that.
So they're even making a horror-based Peter Pan movie. It's like, oh my god, that's going to be hilarious.
And a Pinocchio one, I think, and
a Pinocchio. Yeah,
Pinocchio's Revenge.
Pinocchio's Revenge. I remember that movie.
Right, that's a good movie.
Pretty much just a Child's Play knockoff, but a good one.
Yeah, it's like the same people from Child's Play or the same stuff.
It's the same fucking story.
The same dude and the puppet was in one of the fucking puppets from like Child's Play too.
I believe that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely the same story, like you said.
Well, the next movie on my list is something you and I have watched, Robert, and that is Alien Romulus. This is set between Alien and Aliens. It was not directed by Ridley Scott, unlike Prometheus and Alien Covenant. We got a new director, Fede Alvarez, who was behind the Evil Dead movie, the reboot, and what else?
No. Yeah, Romulus was cool. We also watched Prey too, right? I was telling Bo, dude, we gotta watch fucking Prey.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check out Prey because I do like the Predator movies.
I saw it with Ash, dude. That thing's bad.
Yeah. And actually having a Predator movie based in ancient times.
Yeah, like
with indigenous people.
The prequel before the Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
That's sick.
Oh, and Fede Alvarez also did Don't Breathe. That's what I was thinking of. So,
Don't Breathe.
Yeah, 2013 Evil Dead and Don't Breathe. Man, I really liked this. It really feels like something that is close in tone to Alien and Aliens, or really the original Alien in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
It contains references to all the movies and even the video games.
Yeah, no shit. It felt a lot like part 2, like we were going back to 1982 or something.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this, but plenty of horror moments. I mean, there's a really cool anti-gravity scene. And I mean, here's a movie that was actually kind of scary, and then right there at the end, that fucking creature that they fight.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, it looked like a Slender Man being born out of a baby, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Man, and they kind of go back to Alien and Aliens 2 with that like final bit. Like, you've defeated the main threat. Like, you think everything's good, and then there's something right there at the end that comes and gets you.
Yeah, the mother or the boss fight right at the end.
Yeah,
like definitely the final act.
Yeah, there's just that like one last surprise. I mean, I felt, like this is how, if you're going to do more Alien movies, this is how you're going to do it. I mean, because nobody wants to remember Alien 3 or Resurrection, so it's pointless to set movies after that. So and we've already done the prequels, so what else do we do from here? Well, let's just set a movie sometime after Alien 1, and, here's just a separate story that happened. I mean... There's tons of references. I mean, what they did with Ian Holm was kind of cool, actually.
Oh man, the CGI on that dude's face, yeah. Or the fucking the android, man. Because I know that dude was dead, and they brought the actor back too.
Yeah,
in CGI.
And it's a bit uncanny valley, but I think for an android that actually makes sense.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked. Yeah. Like, that was cool. That was a cool little throwback. And I mean, speaking of androids, or I think they call them synthetics in this universe, that was actually kind of one of the main, like, plots of this movie. Subplots.
Yeah, that was like, it felt like bringing back Charles Heston for, like, Rogue One or something. That's what it felt like.
Or when they brought Peter Cushing back in Rogue One.
Oh, no. Yeah, not Charles Heston. Sorry. Peter Cushing, sorry.
Yeah, it was like that. But speaking of androids or synthetics, I mean, that was kind of one of the big subplots of this movie, was like the whole, like they really kind of do a cool spin on that with the second lead in this film, and he's really, really good. I mean, you've got Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson, that's his name, and they kind of have this whole story going on about like the programming. I mean, and that was kind of a big thing about the first Alien movie, right? Was Ian Holm, Ash. His character had his programming, and then he kind of basically set the events of the entire franchise into motion. And we have more of that here with a character whose programming can be altered to be in the best interest of the company, right?
Yeah, I saw that. Override his old programming.
Yeah. And it's kind of cool because he was programmed to do everything in the interest of her, and so she sees him as like an adopted brother. But then it's just like, oh, his programming can be rewritten. So it's a really interesting direction to take that. And I actually felt that was a pretty compelling story for our main protagonists to go through. Let's not just throw a bunch of characters out there. Like, we need to have something to kind of give the audience something to latch onto. It was one thing I talked about, in our Terrifier 2 review, or Terrifier 3, where like you can take like, let's not just have regular protagonists, but let's take protagonists and let's add something to their story that the audience can latch on to immediately, form an emotional connection with them. And I feel that this movie did that really well. And I mean, all in all, it was a pretty fun movie. Again, I mean, it feels like a callback to the earlier Alien movies,
Part 1 and 2,
and
kind of Prometheus and all that shit too.
They kind of throw everything into this mix, but I mean, in terms of like the tone of the movie, I really feel like it's pretty similar, actually, to the first one in particular.
Like,
and I watched both recently.
Yeah, dude, Part 2 is the shit.
Oh yeah, for real. I mean, James Cameron. Yeah, I liked Alien Romulus. It was a lot of fun. By the way, Nosferatu, and The Substance were all nominated at the Oscars. This is the first time since 1987 that 3 horror films have been nominated at the Oscars.
Oh, you love to see it, man. I mean, it's good to see horror finally kind of getting that kind of push at that level, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to remember that the Oscars are a popularity contest, I mean, the Academy votes on it, there's campaigns that, try to push specific actors or specific movies or whatnot. And it's great that, the Academy is starting to kind of recognize that in the last 10 or 15 years or so, horror has really kind of evolved into many, many, many different things, but it's still it's a viable form of cinema, and it's great to see that there's this many horror movies that are actually being recognized by the Academy. You know, and hopefully going forward, we'll start to see more of this. Like, I'm still kind of pissed that Hereditary didn't get any nominations from all those years ago.
Really?
Because Toni Collette was amazing in that fucking... No! That movie got no fucking Academy Awards at all.
Damn, I didn't know that. That's
Toni Collette was robbed that fucking year.
Damn, popularity contest.
Shit, I think Florence Pugh may have been robbed for Midsommar even. But
oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's great that that horror is finally kind of gaining some more prominence. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that kind of bristle at the whole elevated horror thing, but it's important for it's important for horror to have this, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Alien Romulus is one of those films that I wouldn't even necessarily say is elevated horror. It's kind of like classic horror. I mean, it doesn't really try to do very much in the way of like ideas. It's just succeeds at being a decent sci-fi horror film.
The thing you have to realize is that elevated horror in and of itself is kind of a misnomer. I mean, horror has always been a deeply cinematic, rich, and very, very penetrating type of medium to bring forth, you know, certain type of cinematic ideas that directors will have. Like if you can make a beautiful fucking horror movie, you can make anything. You know,
that's true.
So I mean, like take the first Aliens.
Yeah.
Like take the first Alien movie, Ridley Scott's Alien,
which is basically a slasher movie. If you really deconstruct
it's basically a slasher movie, but it's like there's definitely some elevated cinematic elements of you know, of isolation, of you know, of paranoia and everything. Just the overall atmosphere that is created there is top notch. And Ridley Scott is, of course, a fantastic director when he wants to be, but I mean, elevated horror in and of itself, it's like all horror has some type of value to it, you know. It's just that, you know, there are the movies that, you know, just kind of bring in a greater cinematic prominence to them.
Fair.
Like Halloween 2018, right?
Yeah, Hollywood 2018 was actually...
What that box office did in just a week, dude.
Yeah, too bad David Gordon Green fucked it all up.
Yeah, he fucked it up. It trailed off, man. You only needed the one, really.
Yeah. But we've got more than one horror movie on our list here. I mean, both of the other two movies we mentioned are going to be brought up for sure. But those were the three that more than one of us have watched and what formed what I could consider kind of our main discussion. From here, we'll kind of go into some quick reviews about movies we've individually seen. I have a bunch on my list, but Bo, I know you had a few that you actually took the time to watch. Did you, if you want to talk about those for a minute?
Yes, all three of them are movies that came out on Shudder in this last year that really, really impressed me. Like, honestly, if you want some solid horror filmmaking, look up some of the Shudder exclusives. Like, they recently released Oddity. Like, I mean, they're really kind of on point right now. And the first movie that I checked out was a interesting little deconstruction of the slasher genre called In a Violent Nature. Guys, this is a slasher movie that is essentially done from the point of view of the slasher, like 100%. It's pretty much his story all the way through and through. Like, and it pretty much kind of both really leans into the slasher tropes, but also kind of steps back and lets the movie kind of breathe a little bit. Like if you noticed, if you watch the movie and you notice, like in any of the scenes where the killer is walking from one place to the other, which they pretty much show how the slasher killer he traverses around the woods and everything, killing his prey, and also it has a pretty classic reason for why he's resurrected. You know, it's almost kind of a Pumpkinhead thing where he's buried, like, and there's like a talisman. It's like something that's a memento of his mom, you know, which is kind of keeping him there. And these kids go and they just disturb that, you know, which, Robert, I mean, you know, there's plenty of movies where that never ends well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Don't do that.
But From there on, we see the killer come out of his grave, and he just goes on his killing spree. And I mean, pretty much anything involving the actual victims, it's very much kind of off in the distance, or when we actually kind of see them, you know. I mean, it kind of follows very familiar tropes, like they do the whole creepy stories around the campfire thing, you know, from Friday the 13th,
okay,
and whatnot, and
yeah,
but. The fact that they do this from the killer's perspective, it really allows them to kind of go all out with the kills. Like, there is a very, very notable kill that happens to a girl who is doing yoga. And this is after her girlfriend is killed in the lake that she's skinny dipping in. And it involves a hook, and it involves some serious flexibility, needless to say. Like I'll go ahead and just say it. Like, he pretty much takes a hook, first he stabs her through her stomach, takes this hook and chain, hooks her fucking head, and then pulls her head through the hole in her body. And it is just one of the most gnarly fucking things I've seen in horror in a long time.
Nice.
But the ending, though, I'm not going to really spoil the ending too much, but it's this masterclass of tension. You think that something is going to happen. You think that there's just somewhere out there, you know, the killer is just there. But it just ends on a note that many people found polarizing, to be honest. So I mean, just to kind of keep in mind that the ending might not be for you. It's like the pacing is kind of glacial. It's almost like walking simulator type glacial in a little bit. It's practically a walking simulator about a slasher killer, in a way, if it was a game.
See, I'm watching a kill count right now of this movie, and this is actually pretty cool. I'm vibing with this. This whole video goes on for 30 minutes.
It's a very, very interesting movie, but I mean, definitely expect a slower pace here, and don't expect a lot of cheesiness to it, because I mean, it's a very contemplative movie in a way, because I mean, the killer himself, I mean, it's like Ryland Hollinger on YouTube had an interesting take that basically the killer represents nature. He's literally a force of nature, and his entire domain is the woods, and he's kind of like the spirit of the woods, taking vengeance on these kids who have disturbed it. You know, so it has some really interesting angles and some really interesting cinematic choices done here. So I highly recommend checking that out. And the next movie that I have is another really innovative take on found footage, lost media type of television shows. It's it's Late Night with the Devil. And this is basically a late night variety show in the 70s, hosted by this guy played by Dan Dalmastian, I think that's his name, and he plays this host who has this. He has this skeptic on, and he has this medium with this girl who is supposedly possessed, and they try to conjure the devil live on TV on Halloween and everything. But it's presented in a very interesting way. Like, you get the full experience of the actual television show, its presentation itself. You know, you get the grainy look to it. I mean, it's got the fucking old school set design and everything. It's got a studio audience. I mean, it's pretty much like those 70s variety shows that you saw, you know, like Smothers Brothers or like the Carol Burnett show and whatnot. You know, but also kind of like the Tonight Show a little bit, you know, something kind of like that. Kind of a late night variety show, you know, Tonight Show, late night, all that stuff.
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But needless to say, things go south really, really quickly. And what's interesting is that they will, in between the commercial breaks that they do, because they kind kind of have the commercial breaks baked into this. They go backstage and they kind of progress the actual story as to what's happening to everybody in regards to the possession of the young girl and whatnot. And then there's also this weird thing where the Dan's character he went to a Bohemian Grove or something like that and participated in that, and I guess he conjured Satan or something, and that ended up killing his wife. And it's a really interesting presentation, but it's an incredibly psychological take on these types of possession movies, because normally I'm not a huge fan of possession movies all that much, you know. I mean, I kind of find them to be very samey, you know.
Possession movies, yeah, some of them get fucked up.
Yeah, they do, right?
Oh, that's got okay, I'm looking at this. I'm like, yeah, that's David Dismalchin. Okay.
Dismalchin, yeah. Did I say Dan Dismalchin? His name is David Dismalchin. God damn it.
You said a name that sounded to me kind of like David Dismalchin, and I was like, did he mean that? Or and now I'm watching it on YouTube. I'm like, yeah, that's David Dismalchin.
Yeah. It is. And no, I mean, he helped. I think he helped write this movie and everything. Like, he was very much involved in the production of this movie.
Oh, badass!
And it's a very innovative take on demon possession movies, and there's some really cool practical effects that are done here, and it's really awesome. I highly recommend checking that out. And the next movie is another interesting kind of melding of two different mediums here. It's called Stop Motion, and it's about this girl whose mom is like this really respected stop motion animator who has made some really influential works, and her mom is trying to make her final movie before she dies, essentially, like her masterwork. And it pretty much shows but it shows that this girl, she's pretty much the one that's doing the actual stop motion handwork, because this woman has had a stroke and everything, you know, so she can't use her hands and whatnot. So it's very evident that the mom is very oppressive, very abusive and domineering, you know, and this girl like has no real personality to her, or not really personality. She has no real backbone when it comes to her mom. Like, she's very timid. She can't really express any ideas that she has. But her mom has a stroke, and she goes into a coma. And then the daughter decides that she's going to go ahead and actually finish her mom's movie. But eventually some little girl comes and says, wait, no, this is kind of boring. Why don't you make something different? I actually have a story that you can use to make this movie. But I'm only going to give it to you in pieces. And from then on, it shows her basically making her own little magnum opus. Basically making her movie, but she eventually just starts to kind of have a psychological breakdown. Like she has a boyfriend who's doing his damnedest to be supportive of her in her time of need and everything, but you know, there's friction there, and it uses both live action and stop motion animation to full effect, because you essentially get both the horror movie story of the psychological horror of this woman who's just not dealing with making this movie well at all, and then you have the actual the movie that she's making itself, which are these stop motion vignettes, and it becomes quite evident what's actually happening here, and that, you know, this is just about her. You know, it's about her basically being a puppet to her mom's machinations and everything. But needless to say, I won't spoil much more. It does not end well, needless to say, but it's kind of a technical marvel. It's very it's a very deeply penetrating type of psychological horror, you know? And we've seen this type of horror before. Like, you can argue Eraserhead is kind of in that same vein and whatnot.
I'll deeply penetrate your mom.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
But it's definitely an interesting take on these on the stop motion medium, and also kind of coming from somebody who obviously has had some experience working with stop motion, which is a very tedious type of filmmaking. I mean, it's literally frame by frame by frame, and then it just shows how this woman, she just loses it at the end, you know?
Huh.
So, but yeah, I definitely recommend checking that movie out. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's worth it just to see the actual technical aspects of it and whatnot.
Nice.
And what have you.
And won't have you.
And won't have you.
And won't have you.
Well, before I get into my rapid fire review of all the movies I watched, Robert, was there anything that you can think of that came out this year that you watched?
That new King Kong versus Godzilla movie was pretty cool.
Talk about it, Robert, because I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. It's pretty fucking sick, actually, man. God, I need to watch it again too. But yeah, basically Kong versus Godzilla, and then they go into this freaking, I don't know, like into the earth where there's like another layer to where there's like, I don't know.
Oh, it's like a hollow earth type of thing?
Yeah, there you go. The hollow earth type thing, to where there's like villagers and other monsters down there, and it's like crazy.
I don't know. That makes the most sense if you're going to kind of bring the MonsterVerse into a modern, into the modern way. It's like, yeah, may as well just make it a little more fantastical.
You got to see this thing, and then Mothra comes out at the end too. It was like, whoa! It comes out from the hollow
fucking
earth too.
Mothra.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
it's actually cool. You guys actually need to see this because the special effects is pretty amazing too.
I've been meaning to watch that and Godzilla -1, honestly. I mean, this is the latest in the MonsterVerse franchise. I know they're kind of building up their own cinematic universe. We had a Godzilla movie, we had a Kong movie, we had Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Kong.
This is them teaming up.
And now,
they're teaming.
Now the team up.
They're teaming up to take down what could destroy the world. You know. Shit.
Oh, and everybody was, like a few people were bitching about like how Godzilla is like pink in this movie or something. I think it looks cool. I mean, it's fucking Godzilla, man.
Who cares? Seriously, man. It's like, look at some of the fucking suits from back in the day. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
we were talking about that, dude. Like, those were cool too. I'll watch that any day. Fuck.
Yeah.
Get drunk, smoke a little bit.
Fuck yeah. And I heard a lot of good things about Godzilla -1, although that was 2023. So, but that's one that I've been meaning to check out. As for my list, so Borderlands is a film that I talked about. I would have loved to do a crossover episode on this, but we didn't get to. And honestly, it's not a movie I had a lot to say about it, but I did get the chance to talk about this with the Vern from Cinema Recall over on their show. So if you want to hear my thoughts on Borderlands, just go listen to that episode. That's really all I have to say about that, honestly. And I don't think I really need to say more about it than what I've already gotten into with the Vern. But yeah, that sucked ass, and it was just boring in a way. It was bad in a way that was boring.
Yeah, I believe that.
And honestly, that's a sentiment I can express to the next films I'm going to talk about on this list, which is our Sony Spider-Man universe film, the Spider-Man-less, Spider-Man adjacent films that came out this year. We got 3 of them. And you know what's funny is I watched all 3 of these expecting to have as much fun as we did with Morbius. And I hate to say it, but I didn't. They were just, again, bad in a way that was just incompetent and kind of mundane. The most,
oh damn it,
the one, you know, Madam Web and Craven. There's a couple moments there that were kind of mimetic, but I mean, like, it just. To be honest, there's not even a whole lot I could say about these movies other than the fact that why the fuck are we like 6 movies in at least, and we still haven't gotten Spider-Man introduced? I mean, wasn't the plan to like set up these villains and other heroes so that they could be in Spider-Man films? Why have we gone this many films deep into this without a single direct mention to Spider-Man. I mean, and I know that there's some like rights issues with the character and whatnot, but Sony ultimately has the film rights to Spider-Man, and they have produced Spider-Man films like Spider-Verse. So it's kind of just mind-boggling how these scripts are so allergic to even an indirect fucking reference to Spider-Man. And just going as far as to introduce characters, villains like the Rhino, and then just killing them off. Spoiler, the Rhino fucking dies in Kraven the Hunter, and he never got to fight Spider-Man. Also, this timeline is so fucking cooked. Why are there 3 Spider-Women running around before Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man?
So are you
fuck is going on with this universe?
Are you telling me that these movies did not make a webillion dollars?
They did
make
not.
Webillions and Webillions.
And shout out to both Sydney Sweeney and Dakota Johnson for just basically just outright admitting before the movie fucking came out that it sucked, and they just did it for their careers, and they kind of just turned out their careers as a result of this.
Yeah, no kidding, man. I mean, Jesus Christ. But damn, Sydney Sweeney, right?
Damn.
I mean, damn, bro.
For what it's worth, Venom was okay. It's about as good as the other 2 Venom movies. That's all I can say about it. And I never hated those. Why did we get 3 movies, which effectively concludes, Eddie Brock and Venom's story, at least for now, without Spider-Man? I don't get it. Like, what the fuck was the point of these?
That makes no sense at all. No.
Yeah, I thought the first Venom movie had promise. It's your typical superhero movie, and I get that they're setting up Venom, and out of all of these characters, I mentioned this before, but building up, B-rate fucking Spider-Man villains and supporting characters without, before actually putting them on the big screen was a big mistake. Venom is one of those characters that's an exception because not only has he been on the big screen, even if not this version of him, but he's a very well-known character. So Venom's one of those guys that I could see, but and Kraven the Hunter is very popular among comic book fans. At least we got a good portrayal in the Spider-Man 2 game. But Madam Web, and again, we haven't gotten Kraven the Hunter as a villain yet. Morbius, we haven't gotten him as a villain yet on the big screen. Why are we making movies about these characters? Like, what's the fucking point? And I get that, like, Sony wanted to, like, establish those characters and avoid the mistake of trying to develop villains very quickly in films, and losing their audience, but you never added Spider-Man. You had this long to fucking do it, and you haven't done it. And so if Kraven the Hunter is the last of these movies, then good fucking riddance, because they're honestly a blight on superhero cinema. They're those movies that people will go and watch and be like, yeah, superhero cinema is dead.
Jesus Christ, man.
I would say that as someone who ironically enjoys Morbius. I mean, we love Morbius on this podcast, but God, it's like Sony either needs to lean into that camp or fucking learn from their mistakes, because they've had this many movies to do it and they still haven't. I mean, there's got to be a fucking troll or someone on that team who is doing this on purpose. There's no other way to explain it.
And then there's a whole thing where they tied it into the MCU multiverse very briefly.
They tried to.
They tried to. It's like, I mean, that's just straight up cinematic malpractice. That's what this sounds like. 100%. It's just Suits completely fucking up any type of unique vision they could have for this type of IP. So yeah, no, that's what it is. Cinematic malpractice on all levels.
And literally just so they can hold on to the film rights for Spider-Man. That's why they're pumping these out. For what it's worth, say what you will about Disney or whatever, but if Marvel Studios had the fucking rights to this character, to Spider-Man, the film rights, we'd be way better fucking off, because Lord and Miller would be able to continue what they've been doing with the Spider-Verse franchise. We've only got one left of them anyway, but they can continue working on those because that's proven to be a successful franchise. If Kevin Feige's previous history is to show, he would just let them do their own thing again. And, and probably we'd actually get projects greenlit, like Raimi's Spider-Man 4 or The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Like, those things would probably fucking happen. And that's what audiences want. Audiences don't want Morbius or Madam Web or Kraven the Hunter or fucking El Diablo, because that was actually going to happen.
What the hell, really?
We want Spider-Man.
Wow. Just wow.
And we get the multiverse. We can have multiple versions of Spider-Man running concurrently. That's okay. Just go back and do fucking, bring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield back and let them do their own solo films.
Yeah, no kidding.
Exactly.
Jeez.
So that was my whole rant about those. Moving on, this year I also had the opportunity to watch both Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1 and Part 2. And I watched those shortly after rewatching the David Lynch one, just for the full experience. And all I can say about these movies, it was actually good that I watched them together because they're Part 1 and Part 2, right? So I got what I think is the complete story. It seems to end where the original Dune did, but I think they're doing a third one and they're going to keep going. So all I can say is these movies, they look good. The performances are good. I mean, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya are fucking great. I mean, we even got fucking Austin Butler and Christopher Walken here in the second one. Every single shot is just masterful, like really, really, really good. And what I really liked about this one, about Part 2, is you actually got to see like the rise of Paul Atreides, something that, the 1984 film kind of missed out on because we kind of just got a montage of it. Here, the whole fucking movie kind of built around this subplot of him like literally, becoming their messiah, like watching the transformation happen where, it's kind of a coming of age story and you're watching him go through these trials to become one of the Fremen. And then at first he's like dismissing the rumors, but, by the end of the film, he's ready to just fucking, I'm your god. It's really cool watching the rise of a character who's literally worshipped as a god.
Interesting. I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth, man. I have very limited experience with Dune as a whole. Like I have David Lynch's movie. I have that. And I've played back in the day the Dune 2 real-time strategy game from back in the day on PC. And that's pretty much it, So I mean, I only have a little bit of an understanding of that universe. And I don't know. I can't really say it's ever really appealed to me all that much.
I recommend you give Denis Villeneuve's movies a shot though, because like these are really excellently done.
I would do that mainly because I do like Denis Villeneuve and everything. I do like that, his directorial style and everything. So I'd be willing to give it a try just for that,
Netflix, bro.
I do like him.
I got Netflix at my house.
Yeah, because and it gives room for like the lore to breathe, and really get into this. And you might wonder if by splitting this into 2 or more parts might cause the pacing to have issues. But honestly, this is about as well as a movie is fucking directed. It's really fucking good. And honestly, I felt like the story was more compelling this time than in David Lynch's adaptation. God rest his soul. He disowned that movie, so he would agree, right? But
no, he would.
And it's not a bad movie by any means. But I'm just saying this was a much better adaptation. It really actually compelled me to care about the story and the characters more than before. And I liked Dune. This one held my interest in a way that was better. If modern technology had to do with that or not. I mean, and this is a case where if they're using CGI, it's really not even easy to tell. I don't know how much of this was done practically. I mean, one thing I forgot to mention about Alien Romulus was that was done using almost all, practical effects. And they made that with an $80 million budget. So that's fucking phenomenal. There's only like a couple scenes that were obvious CGI and they're not the best, but they're not the worst. But as far as Dune goes, I mean, it all looks so good. I can't tell.
Yeah, for real.
Moving on though. Here's one of those horror movies we mentioned earlier, but The Substance. Here's a body horror film in 2024. I really recommend this to you both, actually, in specific. You both would really like this movie, and I recommend you watch it. With Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. Man, it's really fucking cool. I don't even want to spoil it for you guys because I mean the ending just goes off the rails and it's fucking insane. And, like there's this whole social commentary on like the body image, you know, and like the way that Hollywood treats actresses, you know, and like, you know, hey, well, once you hit 50, that's it for you, you know. I think the most unrealistic part of this movie actually was trying to convince us, the audience, that Demi Moore is unattractive.
Yeah, right. I mean, Demi Moore was one of my favorites from the 90s, you know, so it's good to see her getting a role like this and also getting nominated for a role like this. But also, it's just good to see an honest-to-goodness Cronenbergian body horror movie come out in the year of our Lord 2024, man.
Yes!
It's like, that's great.
Nothing could prepare me for the ending of this movie, man. It is so fucking insane. And some people might hate the ending about how it goes off the rails, but I fucking loved it.
Wow, hell yeah.
Yeah, like you guys should both watch this. You're gonna like this one. It's so much fun. I think it says something. And hey, it's a horror movie that got nominated for an Oscar.
That's really cool. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Alrighty. I guess I'll go ahead and jump forward to the other horror movie that got nominated for an Oscar. I have these on my list mostly in chronological order, but I'll just jump ahead. But Nosferatu. So I had the chance to watch a cam rip of this movie. Then someone told me, no, you haven't seen this movie until you've watched it on the big screen. So I watched it on the big screen. What can I say? It's a great fucking movie. Robert Eggers doesn't miss.
Oh, no, man. I mean, I have his movie, The Witch, and that is a really awesome movie. Really, really interesting take on period horror.
I mean, man, and I got to see fucking Lily Rose Depp's tits on the big screen, and they were definitely better on the big screen. I didn't get to see Demi Moore's or Margaret Qualley's tits on the big screen, but I did see them on my 50-inch 4K 120 hertz TV, and we got lots of good titties. By the way, on that previous movie, when you guys do watch it, don't eat anything while you're watching it. Forgot to mention that. When you watch the substance. But as for Nosferatu, I mean, I recommend you guys give this film a shot too, because I mean, this is elevated horror. This is where, you know, and then this is actually Robert Eggers' first time not directing an original story, but actually adapting a pre-existing work. And I watched recently the 1922 short film, and I can appreciate the difference that Robert Eggers made, which I think also helped distinguish this script from Bram Stoker's Dracula. And any of the changes that were made, I think, actually improved the story.
Interesting.
I mean, there's kind of this whole like possession thing that has been going on between Lily Rose Depp's character and Count Orlok. So you got Bill Skarsgård, Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Aaron Taylor Johnson again, this time in a good movie, and Willem Dafoe, the man, all in this. So great fucking cast. I think the standout, Emma Corrin as well. The standout is Lily Rose Depp, of course. I mean, she's just, but they're all great. And this movie was really scary too. I actually kind of felt the tension and the pure dread that Nicholas Holt's character felt in the presence of this like grotesque creature. Count Orlok looks awesome. He doesn't look anything like what I thought he was going to look like, and it's somehow even better.
Wow, hell yeah, man. This is one of those movies that I'm kind of sad that I missed last year, to be honest, because, I mean, like I said, I have a lot of respect for Robert Eggers. You know, I've been meaning to check out The Lighthouse, you know, with Pattinson and Dafoe.
Same.
Yeah, but it's like taking on something like Nosferatu and actually, you know, something that was, you know, really, really just coming from that German expressionist movement of early horror and kind of bringing it into a more modern take on a period piece like that's really something that I really want to check out.
Hell yeah, bro. Yeah, it's some good stuff, man. So I also have on here, I could not talk about it, Joker Folie à Deux, because
Oh no. Oh no.
yeah, so here's what I think happened, okay? So Todd Phillips writes a Joker movie. It's well received. People really like it. It's something original. It's a standalone movie that never needed a sequel. I said that back when we did our Joker review. You can go listen to that. Yep. I said this movie does not need a sequel, but, you know, if they can do something really interesting with it, I'm open to it. I just, you know, you got to justify your own existence. You know, if you're going to do a sequel, I heard that it was going to be a musical. You're going to have Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. I heard that and actually was more intrigued. I was like, okay, I can, you know, here's something you're going to kind of do something really new with this by making it a musical. And you know, like if you're going to do another Joker movie, yeah, like do something, you know, that's a big swing like the first movie did. And it's not, in my opinion, it's not terrible, but it didn't justify its existence as a sequel. And again, here's what I think happened. I tried to get into this earlier and I went off tangent, but I think the studio said, hey, Todd Phillips, you know, who he never intended to do a sequel, I'm sure, you know, but they threw a bunch of money his way and he said, okay, fuck it. I'm going to troll the fuck out of everybody that misinterpreted my film.
Nice.
Which is actually kind of based, you know, because it's like a lot of people didn't understand what Joker 2018 was actually about and like identified with this character and in ways that they were not intended to. So, you know, like, I respect to him for having the balls to just say, fuck it. You're gonna throw me a bunch of money to make a sequel? Well, I'm going to troll the fuck out of people with this.
That's respectable. I can 100% respect that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But it just didn't stick the landing for me. And not even for the reasons that most people hate it. Like, I feel like most of the main complaints I hear about this movie honestly actually demonstrate a lack of understanding about the first movie. Honestly. You know, but yeah, it's not good. But if you want to hear about a good movie, I did watch and I was pleasantly surprised by Wicked. I've never watched the musical. I've never read the book. It's been years since I've seen The Wizard of Oz, but you know who surprised me? Ariana Grande. I didn't know she could act, and she can act. Maybe it takes a character that she's similar to, because I mean, she's playing this like annoying, bubbly type character, and I'm like, you know,
yeah, that's kind of that's kind of Ariana Grande's bailiwick a little bit as far as what I've seen of her.
Yeah, it works. I mean, the music was good. The songs were really good. I really like empathized or sympathized with the movie's characters. I mean, there's this whole plot going around. Like, kind of the main plot is the idea of like the right. Bo, you would like this because it's about like the rights of animals. You know, like animals in Oz, you know, used to be able to speak, but you know, the government is actually trying to prevent the animals from speaking and having roles in civilization and caging them.
Wow. No way.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole
That's compelling.
There's a whole political thing about it. It's cool. But it's another movie.
Interesting.
It's another movie that's part one. They're going to do part two, I think, soon, within, I'm assuming the next year or two, which is going to cover Act 2 of the musical. And I think that should be it. But I'll give it a watch. I mean, this one hooked me in.
But I mean, there's just one really pressing question here. Did Ariana Grande decide to be black this time, or Latina, or Asian?
This is America again.
Which one did she decide to be this time?
She actually was just kind of white this time.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's been white the entire time. But I mean, there's a whole thing that people have noticed that she kind of takes on racial characteristics, kind of a Tropic Thunder thing. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's noticeable. Okay. People have noticed this, and she's white, you know. So it's like, what's going on there, Ariana? What's going on with that? You know?
Yeah.
Transgender identity.
I don't know.
I don't think it's like being trans. No.
Transgender identity, Bo.
Oh my God.
Wouldn't that be transracial? And that's actually kind of bullshit.
Oh, transracial identity. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is kind of. It is bullshit.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Transracial identity.
It's bullshit, Robert.
Yeah, it's not
all real.
It's a bad joke.
It's just the same thing with you white people thinking you're black.
Oh my God. God damn it, Robert.
Robert, what
Am
the
I
fuck
wrong?
are you talking about?
Am I wrong? Am
What
I
are you
wrong?
talking about, Robert? Jesus Christ. Talk about movies.
Am I wrong? I mean, they made an Eminem movie about you guys, right? Am I wrong? That movie was made.
Yeah, it's called American History X, Robert. That's what that movie
8 Mile was made because of you guys.
Yeah, that's what that movie is called.
Well, our resident colored person has spoken.
Actually, I'm getting tired, man. I'm hurting right now. I want to go. Like,
Okay.
fuck. I don't know.
Well,
Okay, dude.
hey, real quick, we have we're just about done with this. Actually, this has been kind of a long episode. There were a few other movies that came out, so I'm just gonna rapid fire the list at you guys. And if any of these stick out and you had a comment or two to talk about them, you can. I know, Robert, you were kind of interested in the Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, but didn't get a chance to watch that, right?
I'll watch that sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting. But also this year we got Civil War, Rebel Moon Part 2, Challengers, Furiosa, A Quiet Place Day 1,
Okay.
Twisters.
I mean, yeah, I guess some of these movies were movies that we could have seen. I don't know.
The Crow.
You have Megalopolis on this.
Megalopolis.
And it's like, I've heard that that's kind of a...
Actually, yeah, I gotta go. Sorry, guys.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'll
dude.
see you later.
Okay, Robert,
on,
what's
man.
your best picture this year? What's your favorite movie?
Robert, what's your best picture, dude? Real quick. Oh my God.
All right. Well,
Okay, I guess Robert just left.
all right. Well, that's fine. We'll just wrap this up.
All right. Yeah.
You were talking about Megalopolis.
Okay. Yeah, Megalopolis is kind of a crazy movie from what I've heard. It's kind of a train wreck.
Yeah.
A little bit. So yeah.
That in The Crow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Twisters was one I kind of wanted to watch. It's I've watched the original Twister, so that was one that was on my radar, along with Beetlejuice, because I mean, the original Beetlejuice is a classic. So both of those are movies I definitely want to check out. I mean, this year we also got The Wild Robot, Smile 2, Mufasa the Lion King, and Better Man, the movie about Robbie Williams, who I've never actually heard of before, but I guess he's a monkey.
Yeah, that's become a huge meme on the movie Circle Jerk subreddit. It's like, it's kind of like Return to Monkey or something like that. It's like, oh my God, dude, what even was that? What are you trying to do, Robbie Williams?
We got Black Myth Wukong this year, so maybe it is the Return to Monk.
Yeah, maybe it is something like that. You know.
I mean, Mufasa the Lion King, that was the prequel that nobody asked for to the live action, but not live action shot for shot remake of The Lion King that nobody asked for.
I didn't even ask for the first remake, so I mean, yeah,
That's what I'm
the fuck?
saying.
Who even asked for any of that?
I mean, fucking like Rebel Moon. I mean, come on. You didn't even surprise anybody or impress anybody with the first one, Zack Snyder. And apparently the second one isn't a whole lot better. So I guess a lot of people can understand why Disney turned him down.
Yeah, the Snyder the Snyder Bros are definitely reeling after that.
They'll never recover.
Never recover.
But all right, one last segment I wanted to do before we wrap this episode up, and that's something new I wanted to do this year. Robert won't be joining us because he has left early, so I guess we won't know his award. But I wanted to talk about our personal Best Picture awards. What is the movie in 2024 that you watched that was your favorite? Or even if you haven't watched it, maybe a movie that you felt, from what you've heard, really deserves the award.
Deserves the award. Well, I'm just going to go with Terrifier 3. That was like my most anticipated movie of this year. We got to watch it. We got to actually, go through the whole Terrifier franchise so far on the podcast this season. And yeah, Terrifier 3 was highly entertaining. And I'm glad that we were able to watch it. I'm glad we were able to review it.
Hell yeah. Yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention, but if we didn't talk about a movie and we should have, we might have done an episode on it. This year, we did an At the Movies episode on Deadpool and Wolverine and the Bike Riders, and we did cover Terrifier 3 for our Christmas special. So those 3 movies do have episodes. You can listen to my thoughts on Terrifier 3 on our episode with Victims and Villains. But all in all, I mean, I agree with you. That was a fantastic movie. More fucking goodness with Art the Clown just fucking shit up and killing people in creative ways. Hell yeah, man.
Fuck yeah, man. It was a lot of fun. It really was.
Yeah. This has been a great year for horror, I guess. Really.
A great year for horror, man. I'm happy that so many great horror movies have come out and that we actually have like Oscar nominated horror movies from the last year. That's really exciting. I'm glad to see it.
Hell yeah, man. As for me, I'm going to go with Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, I know it's not objectively the best movie on this list. It's probably not even on most people's top 5 or top 10 lists of 2024, if you're a real cinephile. But this is my personal award. So I'm going to go with Deadpool and Wolverine because I had the most fun with this movie. It spoke to me in ways that... most of the other movies this year haven't. A few of them have, really. It's really fucking good. You can hear my full thoughts on it on our episode because, I just fucking love Deadpool and Wolverine. It hit the nostalgia for me, the humor, and I don't care what anyone says. I liked the script as it is. I think it's a good movie. I know it's popular to be like, oh yeah, this totally relied on fan castings, but I even liked what we had of a story with that, and it was it was my personal favorite. It was the movie that gave me the most enjoyment. Sue me.
Right on.
And what a great fucking comeback for Marvel Studios, right? Because we were just talking about how spectacularly bad the Sony Spider-Man universe movies have been, and the MCU hasn't been doing too hot either with the general audience. But hopefully this, ushers in a renaissance of sorts, and we get good superhero movies. I mean, I have some high hopes for James Gunn's Superman. I really do.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. I enjoyed what he did with Suicide Squad, and it'll be interesting to see what he does with Superman as a character and everything. Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. I'm really excited about it, actually. We've got a lot to look forward to in 2025 in terms of movies, and I'm excited to see what our list is going to look like next year.
Yeah, seriously. It'll be interesting to see what 2025 brings us.
Hell yeah, man. Well, at this part of the show, we would normally go ahead and get into our plugs. So very quickly, I'm going to plug what we've got going on with Collateral Gaming. So we should have out by this time our year-end review episode for 2024. So go listen to that wherever you get your podcasts. And also, I may or may not have out our part 1 of our Super Metroid episode, which is our 50th episode of Collateral Gaming. And I'm really excited to talk about Super Metroid. I recently played the very end of that game while tripping on acid, and I had a great fucking time.
Hell yeah, man. I love Super Metroid. That is a very, very challenging game. I can't really say that I've really gotten that far into it. But then again, I don't know. Maybe Metroidvanias aren't 100% my thing,
Well, I actually finally beat Super Metroid for the first time. I think it was the only Metroid game besides the original NES Droid that I have not completed. And I have beat Metroid, the original Metroid 2 and the remake of that. So, and I have beat Zero Mission, just not the original Metroid. And up until now, I had never actually completed Super Metroid. I was right at that last bit before you go into Torian, but I was doing my 100% item completion, had a few more items to pick up. But this time I followed through and beat the game with 100% item completion. I didn't get the best ending, but I'm also playing through the game again now. And hopefully I'll get that best ending. So look forward to part 2 and part 1 if that's not out already. And then in February, we are going to be talking about Hogwarts Legacy. So that's going to be another 2-part episode suggested by our very own Megan Gomez. She's really in love with this game and really wants to talk about it. And I've been playing a little bit of it, and it's fun, despite the existence of its turf creator of the franchise, but we won't talk about that.
Y'all had to play the turf game, didn't you?
You know, there's a whole tangent I can go into about that, but
that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. The developers deserve credit for what they did, despite the turf. But anyway, you can also check out Collateral Let's Play. I did get out a episode of Call of Duty Saturday recently, and will have out another. Oh, I think I was supposed to do one this weekend, and I didn't. It just occurred to me.
Uh-oh. Whoops.
Oh, well. We'll get back to Collateral Let's Play Call of Duty Saturday next weekend. And hopefully soon, Phoenix Wright Wednesday will make a comeback, Bo.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking of making that a kind of a bi-weekly thing, maybe.
Bi-weekly.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. That might actually be the best option. I don't know. Apparently, I can't remember to do Call of Duty Saturday every Saturday.
Yeah.
We're literally recording it. It's
yeah, for sure.
It's almost 2 a.m. on Sunday, and I just realized I never recorded a Call of Duty Saturday. Fuck.
Damn it.
I meant to do that Friday night. Where did that go? I just forgot about it. But anyway, Bo, what's coming up next on Collateral Cinema?
Well, we will be joined by the Retro Anime Podcast to talk about the original 1995 Ghost in the Shell anime movie, which is one of my all-time favorite animes and is very, very, very thought-provoking. I really look forward to talking about it with them. And right now, we have our episode on The Last, Naruto the movie, with Matt St. Jack from Anime Talks, and that was it was good to finally get that episode done and get it out after the original one being lost media and whatnot.
Yes.
So look for that coming very soon. And Ghost in the Shell. That's what's coming up.
Fuck yeah, man. That if you want to listen to me spurg out about the Naruto franchise, right there. That is an autistic special interest of mine, and we get into a lot of fun with that. And Matt was a pleasure to have on again for the second time on this movie.
Hell yeah.
And Ghost in the Shell is a phenomenal fucking film as well. I've watched it recently, of course, for the podcast. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about that with you guys.
Right.
But you can find links to our social media and other podcast platforms in our show notes. And you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. And help us rise up the ranks on Good Pods, or leave us a 5-star review or feedback on your platform of choice. If you'd like to support the show, we do have a Patreon where we have exclusive commentaries, and hopefully we'll add more soon. You can also buy us a coffee on Buy Me a Coffee, or check out our merch store on TeePublic and get you some Collateral Media swag.
Absolutely. We got hats, shirts, cell phone cases, tapestries, and more.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, I guess that's it. This has been a long episode, so we'll go ahead and wrap things up. With all that being said, I've been Ashley Chancellor.
I've been Bo Maddox, and on behalf of Robert Ortegon.
Yeah, we still don't know what his best picture was. We'll find out from him later.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah,
Oh my God.
if you like the show, you can click now and get collateralized.
Oh yeah.
Collateral Cinema is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.